All right, in the next segment, we're actually going to be talking about the WWE Kickoff show for Money in the Bank. You look back at the previous, last how many Kickoff shows, they've been highlighted by actual matches. You go to those matches, most of the time they're matches that have been filling time on SmackDown and Raw. That they've had enough of a feud in order to make people want to see them have a match, but not enough time in order to put them on the pay-per-view. You go to the last two shows, you've seen the 3MB versus the Matadors feud. I guess you can just say main evented by Hornswoggle versus El Torito in the minis matches. In one of them, we saw where Hornswoggle had to have his head shaved. The other one was the WLC match. Those gimmicks really worked. They really got people in order to watch the Kickoff show. It was almost training people. Basically, the WWE pay-per-view started at 4:30 instead of at 5. From watching the Kickoff shows, honestly, in my mind, they're doing a whole lot of work in order to try and sell the pay-per-views. I know the numbers came back for the last WWE pay-per-view, and in the United States, where the pay-per-view is still available on pay-per-view on some systems, as well as it's still, as always, going to be on the WWE Network, where you can get it for $10 a month. If you go back to last year's show, they still maintained 25% of the people that bought last year's, what was the last pay-per-view called? Payback, rather than, getting the network. And the network's available everywhere in the United States where you have internet. It's just crazy that somebody would have paid $40 for that show instead of paying for 4 months worth of the network. Just people get the network. It's well worth it. I've been watching a lot of it in your houses, like I talked about before. King of the Rings are good. You can go back and watch the previous Money in the Banks. Almost everything in the world is on there. It's only going to get bigger and better as we go along. You're going to get your money's worth. There's no reason you should be calling up Dish TV or wherever and paying $40 in order to watch this show. You can get it for $10. Don't be scared off about the, you're locked into 6 months or whatever it is. People have proved on the internet that you can get around that. If you really need to cancel, you can cancel and nothing bad's going to happen to you. But for this month's, Kickoff show, they're not going with a match. They're going with just a Daniel Bryan interview, where basically the fans, they can write in, and I was going to say Josh Matthews would ask the questions, but Josh Matthews just got released, much like how we were talking about 3MB with Jinder Mahal and Drew McIntyre getting shown the door earlier. Basically, like Renee Young or somebody on the WWE announcing team will be asking Daniel Bryan these questions. It goes back and reminds me a lot of Hell in the Cell 2012. I wouldn't grab this DVD because I thought I was going to show it off to you and bring this up. At this show, John Cena was injured. They felt that they needed to have John Cena on the show in some way, so they put him on the Kickoff show doing a Q&A, which was very, very bad. I was going to review it so I'd remember what they asked him on there, but it's not on the DVD. Hell in the Cell wasn't released on Blu-ray, so they didn't put it on there. The only video exclusive they give you is Matt Stryker interviewing Sheamus. So the John Cena Q&A is lost forever. But I don't really see anything big coming from this. Daniel Bryan could answer the fact on where Brie Bella is. When Daniel Bryan and Brie were still a part of the WWE, creative team before they found out that Daniel Bryan's injury was worse than it was. They did the whole angle where Brie quit on Stephanie. I'm very surprised that they haven't just sort of scrapped that whole deal and just, brought Brie back and acted like, she's tag teaming with Nikki and it's no big deal. Of course, we also saw, Brie and Nikki fight at WrestleMania for a second. They never followed up on that. So I'm not sure. But maybe they just sent Brie home in order to take care of Daniel while he's injured. It's not really a honeymoon since he's trying to get back into shape and get, that the neck and the arm issue all worked out. But maybe they can sort of live together on their own, and maybe it's worth it to the Danielsons to sort of live together to get this relationship kicked off in the right direction, and not just rushing back out on the road because Daniel is the champion and they gotta live up. I don't really know what questions you're gonna ask him. If a fan was to write in and say, hey, when you gonna come back, when you gonna fight again, he doesn't know. It's not like he's gonna be able to say that he's gonna take Wade Barrett's place if he is injured and be able to get into the show. One thing you really can look at is they've already announced that the Kickoff team is going to be highlighted by Christian on the panel. We haven't seen Christian there in a long time, and I can't even remember the last time Christian had a match. I can't remember when he got injured. I remember it was a concussion problem, and I think it was sometime after SummerSlam last year when he had the match with Del Rio, which they sort of hyped like his retirement match if he didn't lose, and then he lost, and he still was having another match. So it didn't make sense to me. But Alex Riley and Booker T will be there with him. I don't really know. Maybe you can ask him where Bree is. Maybe Bree will be there. Maybe they could bring up this sort of angle. We saw Stephanie McMahon get a whole lot of heat, and basically be the main angle of Monday Night Raw. On Monday, basically, with her versus Vicky Guerrero, which ended up not being a real match. I thought maybe that, Stephanie would sort of use that as a way to get in the ring and move around and sort of get used to it, because I think a lot of people really want to see Brie versus Stephanie. I think that's a match that people want to see. And it definitely would. I don't know if you can really call that the Divas division if it's Stephanie, but that definitely would be a big angle for WWE. And sort of, Vince isn't on TV. I know that Triple H is in sort of this role where he's not a wrestler, and he's like the corporate guy, sort of like the Vince McMahon. And when he comes back and wrestles, it's a real big deal. But if Stephanie was to get in the ring for the first time, and I would guess 10 years. I don't know when her last match was. I think it was against her dad, but I'm not really sure. They did a lot of the things when she was on SmackDown where they put her in matches on SmackDown against Brock Lesnar, and I think she had a match against Kurt Angle as well, as a way to sort of, punish her for being a good girl. But I don't know. I don't really see a whole lot coming out of this. He's not going to put himself in the Money in the Bank match. He's not going to say that he's better, and I don't really see him saying he's the #1 contender for the title, and he wants a shot at Battleground. I don't see him promising us that he's going to fight at Battleground. I just see him as saying, I had surgery, I thought I'd be better, I'm not better yet, but I promise, when I am better, I'm going to get back in that ring, and I'm going to do as much as I can. The people are the ones that got behind me and put me into this position, so I have to go out there and I have to fight the best I can in order to, get myself to the top once again. So that's what I think about the Money in the Bank Kickoff. We'll leave that with that, and we'll go on to the next match.